Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 8 Part 33 based on novel. So let's start. What arrogant words. After so many years, you are the first person who dares utter such words in front of me. A mocking smile involuntarily surfaced on Shinyun's face when he heard Lin Dong's words. He had an extraordinary status amongst the disciples in Yuan Gate. Normally, when others saw that he was one of the 8 Soul Generals, even if they did not immediately respect and fear him, no one dared to claim that they would beat him to death like a dog. Lin Dong remained indifferent. However, the ferocity within his eyes swiftly accumulated. This unexpected development caused him to be a little fearful. At first, he had already felt that it was inappropriate to bring Ying Huanhuan along. After all, if anything were to happen to her, Lin Dong did not know how to answer to either Ying Xuanzi or Ying Xiaoxiao. Lin Dong? That Lin Dong who defeated Yao Ling? You guys are from Dao sect. Shinyun appeared to find this name a little familiar. He frowned slightly, before his eyes narrowed as he looked towards the skinny figure. No wonder this little beauty has such a terrible attitude. It turns out you guys are those small fries from Dao sect. The corners of Shinyun's mouth contained a mocking manner as he laughed. There is no need to leave the Demon Sound Mountain today. Lin Dong lifted his head, as his lips parted into a smile as he said, "Brat, don't think that you possess the qualification to be so arrogant in front of me just because you defeated Yao Ling. Your name does possess some reputation within my Yuan Gate. It's just as well. I will capture you and bring you back to Yuan Gate to allow my Yuan Gate disciples to have a good look at you." Shinyun laughed coldly. "Distance yourself from this here and be careful." Lin Dong turned his head and spoke to Ying Huanhuan. Yes, Ying Huanhuan nodded. She was just about to pull back when her expression suddenly changed. Her eyes looked towards the distant forest. A rushing wind sound was suddenly emitted from that spot. A human figure rushed over and appeared at Shinyun's side in a couple of flashes. "Eh? You have actually yet to succeed? What is the background of that brat?" The black-clothed man, who had just appeared, swept his eyes over Lin Dong and Ying Huanhuan before lifting his brows and asking smilingly, he is that Lin Dong who defeated Yao Ling. It is rumored that he is quite an outstanding individual amongst the Dao sect younger generation members." Shinyun replied. "Oh." The black-clothed man seemed to be a little surprised. After which, he laughed. The disciples of Dao sect her. Enemies really cross paths frequently. Although Yao Ling is someone who was expelled from Yuan Gate, it is not up to your Dao sect to deal with him. Lin Dong observed the black-clothed man in front of him. This man had a tall figure and some traces of blood remained on his body. This caused Lin Dong to shift his eyes. He glanced at the surroundings of the Demon Sound Mountain. It seems like those people who had fled from the Demon Sound Mountain previously had all been finished off. Another 8 Soul General Yuan Gate has actually dispatched 2 top disciples from the 8 divisions this time around. This black-clothed man's aura was not weaker than the white-clothed man. Clearly, they were on the same level. From the looks of it, he was definitely also one of the 8 Soul Generals. 2 9 Yuan Nirvana stage experts that were comparable to Yao Ling. This lineup was definitely quite powerful. It was likely that even Lin Dong would find it quite troublesome to deal with them. Ying Huanhuan was also clearly aware of this point. Therefore, her body, which was originally planning on pulling back, came to a stop after the black-clothed man appeared. She clenched her silver teeth slightly before her hand landed on her heavenly phoenix zither. An unusual dark red light surged deep within her bright alluring eyes. "Finish him off. 1 each." The black-clothed man smilingly watched the Lin Dong duo and said, "All right." Shinyun smiled darkly and nodded. His gaze was sinister as he stared at Lin Dong. "Leave him to me. I will make him understand that regardless of how great his reputation is within the Dao sect, he is still nothing in the eyes of our Yuan Gate. I shall take this little beauty then." The black-clothed man laughed. His body moved before he rushed explosively towards Ying Huanhuan. Little flame. Lin Dong's eyes were icy cold as a deep cry was suddenly emitted from his mouth. Bang! An intense rushing wind sound was transmitted over at the same time. A huge stone was ruthlessly swung out from the demon sound mountain. After which, it smashed towards the black-clothed man. Boom! The black-clothed man threw a punch. A powerful force blasted the large stone. After which, his eyes turned cold when he saw a tower-like figure with a fearsome aura appear in front of Ying Huan. His scarlet eyes made one tremble. Protect her. Lin Dong pulled back, appeared beside Little Flame and softly said, Big brother, you can be rest assured that no one will be able to hurt her. Little Flame grinned. A monstrously ferocious aura swept from within his body. The skin on his body also vaguely showed signs of turning black. Looking from a distance, it appeared as though he was made of metal. Both of his large fists collided gently against each other and actually emitted a metallic clang sound. A mere demonic beast. Yet you actually dare to utter such nonsense in front of my Yuan gate. An elderly voice suddenly resounded over the midair in an indifferent manner when Little Flame's voice had just sounded. Lin Dong and Little Flame's expressions immediately changed. Lifting their heads, they saw the space above distorting before a brown-robed elder slowly appeared. Little Flame's eyes stared cautiously at the brown-robed elder. He could sense a rich danger from the latter's body. Immediately, the black color undulated on his body turned denser. His body tensed up, appearing like a tiger about to pounce on its prey. Lin Dong's expression was a little gloomy. Clearly, he did not expect that Yuan Gate had not only dispatched 2 of the 8 Soul Generals, but that there was actually also a powerful old man following them. Based on his aura, this old man had definitely reached the profound life stage. He might have even reached the advanced profound life stage. This situation had really changed a little too quickly. Where did this old fart come from? You actually dare to act mightily in front of us 3 brothers? Do you think Grandpa Martin is just a decoration? While Lin Dong's expression was rapidly changing, a muffled thunder-like cry also rumbled from the sky. Immediately, storm clouds surged in the sky before Little Martin appeared in midair in a ghost-like manner. His eyes were ruthlessly staring at the brown-robed elder. The brown-robed elder's eyes also looked at Little Martin, who had just appeared. Promptly, that elder's face trembled slightly. Clearly, he had also sensed just how difficult it was going to be to deal with the latter. Elder Jiang, all of you are finally here. The miserable-looking yellow-golden ghost owl, who was covered in blood, arose into the sky from behind. He immediately rejoiced when he saw the brown-robed elder and the rest. Gritting his teeth, he said, Elder Jiang, this fellow has the strength of an advanced profound life stage expert. He is similar to you. If we join forces, we will definitely be able to kill him. The eyes of that old man called Elder Jiang had a dark expression flashing over. However, a smile of agreement surfaced on his face. He laughed. This time around, this old man has arrived a little late. This caused your demon sound mountain to suffer great losses. However, it is fortunate that we did not allow these villains to escape. Let's join forces and quickly subdue them. Ying Huan observed the situation before her expression gently changed. If Elder Jiang from Yuan Gate was added into the mix, wouldn't the other party possess 2 profound life stage experts? Little Martin, can you handle it? A cold light flowed within Lin Dong's eyes. His eyes looked towards Little Martin, whose handsome face had a dense cold smile hanging on it, and said, Although it is a little troublesome, it shouldn't be much of a problem. However, it seems like we can't even allow one person to escape today. The corner of Little Martin's mouth was lifted. His handsome devil-like face had a bloodthirstiness flashing over it. Although he had only recuperated his powers till the advanced profound life stage, his foundation far exceeded the 2 in front of him. Hence, once he unleashed his skills, he should stand a good chance of obtaining victory. Of course, we cannot let them off. A ferocious glint flashed across Lin Dong's eyes. He was not a merciful person. Since they were going to fight, he was naturally not going to show any mercy. If one of them were to escape, it would likely cause them an endless amount of trouble in the future. What an arrogant tone. Elder Jiang smiled in a dense manner. He was also at advanced profound life stage. Now that a ghost owl was added to the mix, he did not believe that little Martin would be able to stir any trouble. Shenyun, Xie Yang, finish them off. Martial uncle, please be rest assured. The Shenyun duo, who were facing off against Lin Dong and Little Flame, immediately laughed in a dense manner. A murderous desire spread within their eyes. Can you take care of one? Lin Dong turned his head, looked at Little Flame and asked faintly. No problem. Little Flame parted his mouth and smiled. His tower-like body shook slightly before a tiger roar was seemingly emitted from within his body. Although Little Flame was currently only at 8 Yuan Nirvana stage, his heavenly devil tiger bloodline allowed his fighting strength to be comparable with a 9 Yuan Nirvana stage expert. In fact, the other great general from Demon Sound Mountain earlier was being forcefully ripped into two by him. In that case, Lin Dong smiled slightly before his eyes suddenly turned dark and cold. Vast and mighty wild Yuan power fluctuation swept out like a storm in an uncontrolled manner from within his body. Let's fight! After his low voice sounded out, it immediately detonated the tensed atmosphere in this place. Wild and violent galloping Yuan power ripples swept out in the sky above the Demon Sound Mountain at this moment. Lin Dong's eyes were icy cold. Both his arms had transformed into dragon arms in an instant. Flapping the dragon wings on his back, swoosh sound appeared along with numerous after-images before he appeared in front of Shenyun with lightning-like speed. A straightforward punch was thrown forth furiously. Once his punch was thrown, the space in front exploded immediately before a shocking force directly enveloped Shenyun's body. Shenyun's pupils hardened when Lin Dong's fist wind came sweeping over. Clearly, he had also realized the former's powerful physical strength. He immediately clenched his hand. Bright golden light gushed from his palm and directly transformed into a golden shield in front of him. Lin Dong's dragon fist did not stop as it landed ruthlessly on the golden shield. After which, the corner of his mouth was lifted in mockery. Bang! Frightening strength came pouring forth instantly. That seemingly sturdy golden shield merely lasted less than 2 breaths' time before a cracked line appeared. After which, it emitted a bang sound and was forcefully shattered. Such powerful brute force! Golden light fragments erupted and scattered across the sky. Shenyun's expression sunk slightly. He had never expected that his defenses were actually so utterly useless against Lin Dong. However, he was quite experienced indeed. He clenched his hand after his golden shield blasted apart. A long black spear that contained a chilling glint flashed and appeared. The body of the spear shook, drawing a sharp arc before it pierced explosively towards Lin Dong's head. Clang! Lin Dong spread out his dragon palm. A green light flashed over them as he directly grabbed the tip of the spear. Creak creak! The spear tip drilled wildly against Lin Dong's palm and formed many sparks when rubbing against his green dragon scales. However, the frightening force behind the dragon palms caused Shenyun to be unable to pull out his long spear. Lin Dong's eyes were icy cold. His body rushed out and shuttled beside the length of the spear with lightning-like speed. After which, a powerful swinging kick tore through the air and drew a green light arc in mid-air. With a bang, he swung violently against the body of Shenyun, who was just pulling back. Bang! The sound of air exploding sounded out from Shenyun's body with a bang. His body also flew backward like a cannonball. Finally, it violently smashed onto a mountain before his body was deeply inserted into the mountain wall. After swinging a ferocious kick at Shenyun, Lin Dong immediately tossed the black long spear that he was holding in his hand. Promptly, that long spear transformed into a black lightning bolt and flew ruthlessly towards Shenyun, who was embedded in the mountain wall. Boom! The long spear smashed into the mountain wall and the entire spear was completely inserted into it. Numerous enormous cracked lines swiftly spread. His strength caused Shenyun, who had barely dodged this attack, to shrink his eyes. At this moment, he finally understood just how formidable this Dao sect's disciple in front of him was. He had completely fallen into a disadvantage during their previous lightning-like exchange. This fellow, why is he so powerful? Shen Yun wiped the blood traces from the corner of his mouth while shock flashed across his eyes. He knew that Lin Dong once fought with Yao Ling until both of them were seriously injured. However, that was only because he had consumed some spiritual fruits which boosted his strength temporarily. However, the current reality seemed out of sort with the information that he received. Shen Yun's eyes also took the opportunity to swiftly glance at the other two ongoing fights. Xie Yang's side had already descended into an extremely violent battle. His opponent, who already had a powerful physical body, had currently swelled into a large black tower. The latter's black skin appeared to have some partially visible tiger symbols. When his veins moved and the wind from his fist spread, even the ground 1,000 feet below would wound up being smashed until a deep pit appeared. The other battleground was even more frightening. Their martial uncle Jiang and that ghost owl had joined forces, and the yuan power fluctuation created by two experts at mysterious life stage basically permeated the entire place. Yuan power whistled out when a hand was lifted and mountains crumbled wherever they passed. That scene was incredibly terrifying. However, what shocked Shen Yun the most was that the outrageously handsome young man still appeared at ease when fighting against the two of them. He was even able to unleash counterattacks, break their teamwork and spot opportunities to launch a counterattack. I only know that Lin Dong is a disciple of Dao sect. However, what is the background of this metal tower-like man and that handsome young man? Each of them is even more terrifying than the next. The shock within Shen Yun's eyes became increasingly rich, and he even vaguely felt a little uneasy. Their intervention this time around did not turn out as smooth as he had imagined. Originally, he thought that they could easily finish their opponents off. However, their enemies turned out to be metal plates. Martial Uncle Jiang and that ghost owl should be able to stall that most troublesome fellow. As long as Xie Yang and I kill these two fellows, the situation will be turned around. Shen Yun gritted his teeth. A densely cold killing desire surged within his eyes. Although the strength of Lin Dong's group had exceeded his expectation, he had quite a bit of confidence in himself. Since he could become one of the 8 soul generals in Yuan Gate, this was sufficient to prove his strength. Crack! Shen Yun's expression was dark and solemn. With a jerk, he managed to pull himself out of the mountain wall. However, his appearance was somewhat miserable. You only possess such little ability? Lin Dong extended his hand, smiled faintly and said, "It is too early for you to be celebrating." Shen Yun spoke in a dense manner. After which, his body rushed upwards before both his hands suddenly formed a seal. Immediately, majestic yuan power swept out from within his body. At the same time, the natural yuan power also gathered towards him. A moment later, it actually transformed into 1,000 feet large sky river. River water whistled through the sky river and a vague water-crushing sound was emitted. "I will allow you to witness the top martial arts from my Yuan Gate." A sky river whistled and circled in the sky above Shen Yun like a huge white dragon. The latter's eyes suddenly became icy cold. He changed his seal and swung his palm forward. Sky river skill, sky river space-shattering palm. Shen Yun's low and deep stern cry suddenly resounded over the sky. After which, that enormous sky river whizzed forth. It was just like a huge pillar that bolted through the sky and smashed towards Lin Dong. The white pillar was swiftly magnified in Lin Dong's eyes. Immediately, both of his hands quickly formed several hand seals. While Lin Dong's hand seals changed, the empty space behind him crumbled. A vaguely visible figure penetrated through time and space and appeared in this world. Great desolate heaven imprisoning hand. An ancient large palm suddenly appeared in the sky. It was accompanied by a dense fluctuation. Without any hesitation, it slammed against the sky river that was whizzing over. Bang! The instant they collided, a clear and loud sound reverberated across the entire place. Incomparably violent yuan power fluctuation swept forth in a storm-like fashion, forcefully flattening the sea of trees below. Damn it! The sky river whizzed downwards, but it was still blocked. Shen Yun's expression was as ugly as it could be. Nonetheless, he still bitterly clenched his teeth before he said, "Regardless of how powerful you are merely at 6 yuan nirvana stage. You will definitely die once I exhaust you. The seal formed by Shen Yun changed after his voice sounded. Immediately after, another sky river was agglomerated above his head. Its aura was just as frightening. However, Shen Yun's eyes suddenly shrunk while his sky river was being formed. A glowing figure had suddenly rushed over from below. Get lost! A chilling glint flashed across Shen Yun's eyes when he saw Lin Dong zoom over. He waved his hand and activated a sky river to strike ruthlessly at Lin Dong. However, the moment that he was about to activate the sky river, he saw a strange arc suddenly being lifted on Lin Dong's face. An extremely mysterious seal was being formed by the latter's hands. Stop! Lin Dong's mouth was parted slightly. There appeared to be a soft voice being vaguely emitted. The instant this soft voice sounded out, Shen Yun's hand suddenly stilled. Even the light flakes dancing around him stopped under the shining light at this moment. It was as if he was stuck in the crevice of space and time. This peculiar scene merely lasted for only a moment. After which, Shen Yun's body escaped from the restraint. However, an unconcealable shock surged into his eyes at this moment. This was because a phantom-like figure had appeared in front of him at this moment and his icy-cold dragon palm had already grabbed onto his throat. The 8 soul generals of Yuan Gate are nothing to speak of. Lin Dong's icy-cold dragon palm had the scent of death. It adhered onto Shen Yun's throat while a mocking voice sounded out beside his ear. A terrified expression finally surged onto Shen Yun's face when his throat was gripped by that icy-cold dragon palm. The Yuan power within his body was circulating in a crazy fashion as he tried to break free. However, while the Yuan power within his body was circulating, a cold smile flashed across Lin Dong's face. After which, countless black light rays suddenly surfaced on the green dragon palm. These light rays swarmed around Shen Yun's throat with lightning-like speed. The expression on Shen Yun's face stiffened the moment these light rays covered him. This was because he was horrified to discover that the Yuan power within his body was rapidly vanishing at this moment. The reason why his Yuan power disappeared was because of the palm gripping on his throat. The Yuan power within his body was actually being devoured by Lin Dong. Shen Yun felt like his heart was being ruthlessly gripped by a large hand. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he stared intently at Lin Dong. Furthermore, he realized that as the Yuan power within his body was being devoured, the green light that surged on Lin Dong's body grew increasingly rich. This scene caused a chillness to rise from under his feet. He was truly unable to believe that Lin Dong was not only able to devour the Yuan power in his body, but he was also able to utilize it. This? Shen Yun's eyes shrunk in a wild manner. A moment later, he suddenly thought of something. An indistinct and shocked voice was emitted between his teeth, devouring. Devouring ancestral symbol? Lin Dong's eyes narrowed slightly when these vague words landed in his ears. He had hardly used his devouring ancestral symbol when fighting with others in the past. This was because that item was far too obvious. Anyone with a basic understanding of it would be able to guess its identity. Moreover, he clearly understood that if he was to expose such a great treasure while roaming around, he would definitely attract much unwanted attention. The reason why he used devouring force was naturally because he did not plan to leave any survivors behind. Otherwise, if Yuan Gate knew that he possessed the devouring ancestral symbol, it might end up attracting a great amount of trouble. Congratulations, you are correct. The prize shall be your life, Lin Dong smiled at Shen Yun. That smile caused Shen Yun's body to be covered by a chill air. Shen Yun struggled with all his might. The Yuan power within his body also swiftly disappeared, causing his expression to gradually turn pale. At this moment, he finally understood how fiendish his opponent was. Crack! Lin Dong's eyes were indifferent. A force was suddenly emitted from the dragon arm. A slight sound was emitted before the Shen Yun's struggling body immediately stiffened. The expression on his face completely hardened. One could see some remnant shock and horror in his eyes. One of the 8 soul generals of the Yuan Gate had completely fallen in this wilderness. You killed him. Ying Huan hugged the heavenly phoenix zither and rushed over at this moment. She muttered, feeling a little shaken as she watched Shen Yun's body gradually turning icy cold in Lin Dong's hand. What else should I do then? Lin Dong turned his head, stared at Ying Huan and asked. At this moment, the indifference in Lin Dong's eyes had yet to completely disappear. Ying Huan's small face turned pale when she saw this. The current Lin Dong had clearly frightened her. This fellow hurt you previously. If I do not kill him, what should I do in the event that you return and complain about me? Would the seniors in Dao sect let me off? Lin Dong had also recovered from that state at this moment. He looked at Ying Huan's rare timid manner before an apologetic glint involuntarily flashed across his eyes. He immediately replied in a gentle voice. If you kill him, it's just as well. The great sect competition is approaching. Let them lose a soul general. It will cause them to suffer for quite a while. Ying Huan quietly sighed when she saw that Lin Dong's eyes had once again recovered to their usual gentleness. She tilted her head, thought for a moment, and said, they will be losing more than one soul general, but two, along with one elder. Lin Dong smiled. Immediately, he looked at Ying Huan, who was so shocked that her mouth was ajar. He continued, since we have already made a move, we should leave no loose ends behind. Else, it would be a little troublesome if Yuan Gate becomes aware of it. Ying Huan hesitated for a moment and nodded. If she was the one doing it, she would definitely not be as vicious and decisive as Lin Dong. However, she also understood that Lin Dong's decision was the right one. Lin Dong's eyes turned towards the battleground in the distant sky. He immediately smiled coldly. His hand grabbed Shen Yun's corpse and cried out explosively, aren't the people from Yuan Gate a little too useless? Lin Dong's cry was just like a thunder that rumbled and spread across the sky. The brown-robed old man and Xie Yang, who were engaged in an intense battle, hurriedly turned around. After which, their expressions changed drastically when they saw the icy-cold corpse in Lin Dong's hand. Brat, you actually dare to kill a disciple of my Yuan Gate. Do you wish to start a war? That old man called Elder Jiang had an incomparably shady face as he cried out in a dense voice. So only your Yuan Gate disciples are allowed to kill my Dao sect's disciples? Lin Dong laughed. Brat, just you wait. You will definitely die once news of this matter reaches my Yuan Gate. Xie Yang's expression was dark and vicious while he cried out in a stern voice. You can die now. Xie Yang's stern cry had just sounded out when a tiger-like roar was suddenly transmitted over from his front. After which, that tiger roar shook the sky. The former hurriedly turned his head around, only to see Little Flame's body shaking wildly. It actually transformed into a large black tiger. Monstrous black light swept over wildly while a fearsome aura permeated over the place. Heaven Devil Tiger Tribe. Xie Yang's pupils shrunk immediately as he cried out in shock when he saw the enormous black tiger and the mysterious lines over it. Heavenly Devil Divine Transformation, Tiger Ancestral Star Shattering Palm. A low and deep roar that was accompanied by a fearsome evil aura spread forth. The tiger palm of that enormous black tiger slammed out fiercely. The black light turned into countless number of black swirls under his palm. Those black swirls appeared to be connected to the ancient times. An extremely terrifying, fierce and evil pressure was emitted from within. Golden Mountain Divine Hall, Golden Mountain Crushing World. Faced with this shocking attack by Little Flame, the expression of Xie Yang also changed drastically. He did not dare to slight his attack. Yuan power within his body came spluttering out. A monstrous golden light surged and actually transformed into a golden mountain before violently smashing furiously onto the enormous black tiger that was rushing over. Bang! Black and gold began to sweep wildly across the sky at this moment. Each of them occupied half of the sky. Bang bang! Frightening energy fluctuation spread apart. Xie Yang's body flew backwards by a couple of 100 meters at that moment. A mouthful of fresh blood was wildly spat out and his aura rapidly turned sluggish. On the other hand, the enormous black tiger that Little Flame had transformed into relied on the constitution of a demonic beast to endure that collision. The two engaged in an all-out collision and the stronger of the two was obvious. A scarlet color swarmed into the enormous eyes of the black tiger after having endured the attack. The tiger suddenly leaped and appeared in front of Xie Yang, who had a sluggish aura, in a flash. The tiger palm whistled past and violently slammed onto the latter's chest. Bang! Xie Yang's body once again flew backwards. The golden light on his body rapidly dimmed. Finally, it ruthlessly shot into the sea of trees below, rubbing against the ground and forming a deep scar that was a couple of 1,000 feet long. Xie Yang, whose body was covered in mud and blood, struggled to climb to his feet on the ground. At this moment, the haughtiness on his face had completely disappeared. A shocked expression replaced it. Immediately, he directly turned around and fled. Bang! However, while he was still turning around, the enormous black tiger came leaping over in a flash. It blocked the former like a small mountain. A tiger palm was extended in a lightning-like fashion and immediately slammed furiously onto Xie Yang's head. The ground shook and the latter was forcefully slammed deep into the ground. After which, crimson blood gushed out from the deep hole. Xie Yang's aura also vanished almost instantly. A glow finally surged on the enormous black tiger after it killed Xie Yang with a slam of its palm as it transformed back into a human. Little Flame parted his mouth. His expression was as fierce and evil as a devil, causing one to tremble despite not feeling cold. Good, what vicious tactics! The miserable death of Xie Yang was clearly captured in Elder Jiang's eyes. Immediately, his eyes looked as though they were about to crack. A rich viciousness spread within his eyes as he roared, "All of you will regret it. The fury of my Yuan Gate will cause your Dao sect to regret. Old fart, you can be rest assured that the news here will not be leaked." Little Martin laughed faintly when faced with Elder Jiang's roar. "I admit that I have misjudged all of you this time around. However, though I might not be able to finish you off, but do you have the qualification to stop me if I wish to leave?" Elder Jiang laughed furiously. "Since we are going to finish you off, it is likely that I do not need to hide my identity." A smile spread over little Martin's handsome face. Immediately, the seal formed by his hands changed. Monstrous purple-black light swept out from his body. After which, a pair of 1,000 feet large purple-black bat wings spread out from his back and blotted out the sun. At the same time, a frightening fluctuation that belonged to his tribe also spread out. This is... The eyes of Elder Jiang and the yellow-golden ghost owl instantly shrunk when they saw the 1,000 feet large purple-black bat wings on little Martin's back. In fact, the latter's expression suddenly turned ashen while rich horror gushed out from his eyes. Celestial Demon Martin. Involuntarily a shocked cry was dryly emitted from their mouths at this moment. This video will end here.